What's up, y'all? It's Lawrence Hicks Wilson. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome back. If it's not, it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you. I know, it's all right. Look, we can talk about that later. But right now, we're going to get into the Christmas and holiday edition of my album retrospective videos. And I'm going to talk about a few holiday albums that I love to listen to around this time of the year. Let's get into it. Don't ever doubt you'll be a someone. Always go for what you want. Get up and put your purpose on. Get up, feel the sunshine on your face. Believe that you deserve it all. Put in the work and you will end up far. This is my show and tell. So tell me, are you ready to get it on? So tell me, yeah. So tell me, are you ready? So tell me, are you ready for me? So tell me, are you ready? Tell me, are you ready? All right. I know it's been a minute. I will explain myself, but I want to just focus on the holiday season, positivity, the holiday cheer, and the innocence of the children that's going to be enjoying this holiday season. Now, to get more into the festivities, let's talk about a few albums that I love playing around this time of the year. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm just going to talk about one of them. And in the next video, we can talk about a different album. I won't be long before you, Saints. All right, let's talk about The Preacher's Wife. Okay, I have two copies here. I really think this is a holiday album. Do y'all think this is a holiday album, The Preacher's Wife? There's quite a few albums that I feel are very holiday, Christmassy, you know what I mean, very festive for that time of the year. This soundtrack was released November 26, 1996 by the amazing Whitney Houston, which features quite a few different gospel artists like Shirley Caesar, and has production by Kirk Franklin, a few appearances by different artists like Bobby Brown, Johnny Gill, Monica, her mother, Sister Houston. I mean, this is just a great soundtrack. The only person that was missing on was Denzel Washington, but we all know he's the actor here. I have two different copies. This is the original copy that I grew up listening to. This actually has my mom's signature on it. This is a copy that I found at a record shop, and since it has the holographic, esque to it, I had to get it. It shows Denzel Washington shaking the little boy's hand. I forget his name. I know that's Dudley, but what is the little boy's name? Someone put it down in the comments. But let me just fast forward. Okay, this album was on the charts for a very long time. It started out as the #1 gospel album in 1996 when it was released. By the end of 1997, it was still a #1 gospel album. That is pretty big. It was also a #1 R&B album. The first single, I Believe in You and Me, was also a #1 R&B hit. That's crazy because it's on a gospel album, but the lyrical content is still very R&B, so I can understand that. However, still a success. The movie did pretty well, fairly well. It had a $56 million recoup, like that's how much they recouped, but it was a $60 million budget movie. They felt that it should have done better, but it only came in like with 56 million, which I still feel is amazing. There's some movies that couldn't even make it to that. But yes, there's so many great tracks on here. Step by Step, I Love the Lord, My Heart is Calling, He's All Over Me, and Joy to the World. If you ever watched this movie and got into it, it did kind of it was placed in the holiday season, so it definitely gives you that family feeling, that family oriented feeling. And as well as the gospel album, I remember my mom putting this in on the way to church. We went to church every Sunday. I also remember my grandmother playing this. Now, my grandmother is an evangelist, and she did not listen to worldly music, secular music. That was just never her thing. That was never her stilo. But when I found out that this was one of the albums that she played, that she was comfortable listening to, this is the album that always reminds me of her. So even just looking at the gracious Whitney Houston, like the same grace that Whitney has on this cover, I swear is the same grace that my grandmother had. So this album reminds me so much of her for that reason. I also remember listening to this album and the track Somebody Bigger Than You and I coming on. and Monica's part came on, and I went to singing it, and ooh, oh my God, crazy. And my mom turned around and was like, I know that's not you singing that. Why are you singing her part? But yeah, my grandmother was like, is that you? Is that you? Because I would sing it like exactly as I heard it, but not like how I just did it. That was just an example. Don't take that as law and order. But yeah, that's one of my greatest memories to this. I would play this album to lift up my spirits. I spent so many times sitting by myself and listening to this album to get my spirit up. So if you're having one of those holiday seasons where you're not feeling like yourself and you just need a little boost, I would encourage you to pop the Preacher's Wife soundtrack in. The album starts off with I Believe in You and Me, of course, Step by Step, Joy, Hold On, Help Is on the Way, I Go to the Rock, I Love the Lord, Somebody Bigger Than You and I, You Were Loved, My Heart Is Calling, I Believe in You and Me, the single version which has a video, Step by Step, the remix, Who Would Imagine a King, He's All Over Me featuring Shirley Caesar, The Lord Is My Shepherd, which is sung by the incomparable Cissy Houston, her amazing voice. And the last track is Joy to the World. This is a solid album. 14 tracks, 15 tracks. I also remember singing Who Would Imagine a King in church at my grandmother's church, who's the evangelist. We didn't go to my grandmother's church. We had our own church, but when we were done with our church, or sometimes before we went to our church service, we would stop at her church. This one particular time we went to her church, and they asked me to, get up there and sing, and I took it upon myself to start singing Who Would Imagine a King, and I sung it a cappella, and I had to do it twice because the organist was playing, and they let me sing it a cappella, and he was trying to follow me, and he was like, do that again after I was done with it. He was like, I want you to sing it just like you just sung it, and I'm gonna follow you with the piano. I was already nervous the first time, but to have to do it a second time, I was like, I thought I was just getting through it. He was like, no, we're gonna do it again, and I'm gonna do it with the piano. So that's one of my memories with this song, with that song, Who Would Imagine a King, as well as with this album and movie. I remember sitting back with my family and watching this movie with the first time. And my auntie was into art and portraits, and she got this one portrait that my cousin brought for her, and it was a drawing of a Rockwilder dog. It was like a airbrushed type painting on like a velvet canvas. It like, she still has it today. I remember the day she got it because we were sitting back watching The Preacher's Wife. I'll never forget it. Shout out to you, Auntie Arlene, and my cousin Darrell. I know you're watching over us. But yes, this is one of my favorite holiday albums. Go-to tracks, I really wouldn't be able to honestly give you any because I'm an album guy. I like sitting and listening to the whole body of work. But if I had to choose, it would definitely be I Believe in You and Me, the album version, not the single version. Nothing wrong with the single version, but it's just something about the way Whitney emotes on that version. What else? What will be another one? What would y'all say? I would say Hold On, Help Is on the Way. Just the way it starts and the way that she's singing it. I Go to the Rock. Where do I go when there's nobody else to turn to? Who do I talk to? I can't sing it like Whitney, but just listening to it. But yes, I love the Lord because the way she's emoting on that song. First of all, I've never heard anybody sing that song like the way she sung it, and I don't think we're ever going to hear anybody sing that song the way that she sung it. That I Love the Lord. I've heard so many renditions. I've heard so many people do it and try to do it in church, do praise dances to it. Let's leave the praise dances. Y'all know what clip I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what clip I'm talking about. Another track that would stand out for me would be Who Would Imagine a King because of me having to sing it in church twice, and also Joy to the World because her vocals on that track is just sick, and what a way to end an album, right? This album again was #1 on the R&B charts and the gospel charts. To have this album charting on 2 different genre charts at the same time is pretty amazing. The album kept recharting. It recharted again in 2012, which is crazy. It'll probably won't be the last it recharts. This is the first original gospel album, considered gospel album, by Whitney Houston, but it's a soundtrack. Another one is the latest, I Go to the Rock. It won quite a few awards, like it won some American Music Awards. It won Dove Awards, which was a big deal for a secular artist to come in and win a Dove Award, or two at that. She performed with Kirk Franklin. She performed these songs at so many different places. I believe there was a tour for this album. There was a Pacific Rim tour. Also Classic Whitney, those two dates, I believe she performed songs from this soundtrack as well. So yeah, pretty big deal. This album was a pretty big deal. Y'all put in the comments, is this an album? Excuse me. Is this an album that you guys listen to during the holiday season? Y'all let me know. I told you I wasn't gonna keep you long because there's so many other Christmas albums that I love. Can y'all guess what other albums I have in my hand? Can you guess? I'm gonna get into it. I'm gonna give it another spin. This is a 10 out of 10. You guys let me know what your favorite songs is off this album. What are your favorite scenes from this movie? What do you remember most of Whitney Houston at this time in 96, 97? Like when this album came out, 96? Man, a lot of people also like to say this was Whitney's voice at a time where it was changing, but it still had that original. She was still hitting notes that she was hitting from her first record on this record, so I don't feel like her voice changed that much. However, the richness that she has on this album, it's a testimony to all of the hard work that she had to do, because this is 1996. She was just coming off of the Bodyguard tour. That is a lot of work. That movie came out in 1992. She had her baby in 1993 and started going on tour in 93. Had a 94 tour for the Bodyguard, had a 95 tour during the Bodyguard, even after the Waiting to Exhale. There was no Waiting to Exhale tour. There was just more touring for the Bodyguard. In 96, there was a Bodyguard tour extension. That is a lot of work. Coming right off of that tour and going straight into another movie and recording a soundtrack for it. The next time y'all got something negative to say about Whitney Houston, think about how hard she was working. All right, y'all, look. I told you I wasn't going to keep you here long. Stay tuned for the next video on my holiday series. We're going to do just a few videos on the holidays and albums to listen to at this time. This is definitely one of them. So get into it. The Preacher's Wife soundtrack, the OG. Oh, did y'all notice that there's another cover, an alternative cover? Anybody knows why there was an alternative cover used? It wasn't using this picture. It's not that rare now because that's the cover Spotify and all the digital platforms use. It's now rare to come past the original, which is why physical media is important. That's why you should keep buying the physical copy, because something always changes and it's nothing like actually having the original. But yeah, I'd like to say that there's an alternative cover to this album, so it could seem like it's a Whitney Houston album, because in the back you have the cast and you can make it seem or pass it off as like, oh, this is we can market it as a Whitney Houston album. That's what I think. That's my take on it. Honestly, I feel like I'm leaving stuff out and I'm forgetting some things I actually wanted to say. So to excuse the rambling, I'm going to leave the video right here. But yes, start off your holiday season by putting in Whitney Houston's The Preacher's Wife soundtrack from 1996. And if you got your OG copy, break it out. Pop it out. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all in the next video. Leave any comments down below if you feel like I left anything out or any facts that you want to leave about this this historical album. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace. What's up, y'all? Lawrence Hicks Wilson here. First of all, I just want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays and many more to come. Enjoy each other's company. Be good to each other. Laugh. Eat good food. Get seconds. Take some home. But enjoy yourself and have a happy Thanksgiving and a happy holiday. Peace.